Have you ever wondered if a single moment could completely change the trajectory of your life? This is the story of a chance meeting that defied all odds, a moment so perfectly timed it seemed impossible. Yet, it happened, and it changed everything. We live in a world where billions of people move through their days, rarely noticing the person standing right next to them. But what happens when two strangers cross paths at exactly the right moment? When neither was looking for salvation, yet both desperately needed it? Today, I am going to share an extraordinary true story that will make you believe in the power of human connection again. It was a Tuesday morning in San Francisco, February 2019. Michael Chen stood on the Golden Gate Bridge, his hands gripping the cold railing, staring down at the churning waters below. He was 42 years old, a former tech executive who had lost everything. His company had collapsed, his marriage had ended, and his savings had evaporated. The crushing weight of shame convinced him that ending his pain was the only option left. The fog was thick that morning, wrapping around him like a cold embrace. Kevin Briggs wasn't supposed to be there. He was a retired California Highway Patrol officer known as the Guardian of the Golden Gate, because he had talked more than 200 people down from that bridge during his career. But that Tuesday morning, he was just a civilian driving to a doctor's appointment. Something made him slow down. He saw Michael standing there, and without thinking twice, Kevin pulled over. He approached slowly, carefully, his heart racing with a familiar anxiety. "Hey there, how's it going?" Kevin's voice was calm, non-threatening. Michael turned, startled. "Please, just leave me alone," he whispered. But Kevin didn't leave. "I can't do that," Kevin said softly. "I can see you're in pain, and I just want you to know that whatever you're going through, you don't have to go through it alone." Michael later said those words were the first crack in the wall he'd built around himself. The first ray of light in months of darkness. What happened next wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, honest, and painfully human. Kevin didn't try to fix Michael's problems. He just listened. For 2 hours, they stood on that bridge while Michael poured out his story. Kevin shared his own struggles, his own moments of darkness. They talked about family, about regret, about the small moments of joy. Kevin asked Michael about his mother. Michael broke down, realizing he hadn't called her in weeks. "She's probably the one person who would never see you as a failure," Kevin said gently. "Maybe we should call her together." With shaking hands, Michael dialed his mother's number. Her voice cracked with relief and love. She told him she loved him, that nothing he could ever do would change that. Michael sobbed, realizing that in his isolation, he had created a narrative that wasn't true. He wasn't alone. He wasn't unloved. He was just in so much pain that he couldn't see the people reaching for him. In that moment, something fundamental shifted. Michael stepped back from the railing. Not dramatically, just a small step, but it was the step that saved his life. Michael didn't become an overnight success story. Recovery isn't linear, but he did get help. He started therapy, reconnected with his family, and slowly rebuilt his life. 2 years later, Michael became a volunteer crisis counselor himself. He's spoken at over 50 schools and organizations, breaking the stigma around mental health and suicide prevention. Kevin and Michael remain friends, their chance encounter evolving into a genuine friendship. Through Michael's advocacy work, at least 12 people have reached out to say his story inspired them to seek help during their darkest moments. 12 lives touched by one conversation on a bridge. Research shows us something profound. Studies reveal that the suicidal mind exists in a state of extreme tunnel vision, where the person genuinely cannot see alternatives or hope. But this state is temporary. Most people who survive suicide attempts report that they regretted the decision almost immediately. Kevin's approach, simply being present and listening without judgment, aligns perfectly with what mental health professionals recognize as the most effective crisis intervention. The average duration of a suicidal crisis is remarkably short, often just minutes to hours. Kevin's presence gave Michael those crucial minutes. This story isn't just about one man saving another. It's about the profound impact we have on each other. How many times has someone's kindness shifted your entire mood? We live in an increasingly disconnected world. Yet stories like this remind us that human connection is still our most powerful tool for healing. Kevin's presence on that bridge wasn't just emotional support, it was life-saving intervention. Here's what Michael wants everyone to know. If you're in crisis, please reach out. Call the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Text a friend, Walk into an emergency room. Do anything except face it alone, because your pain is real, but your assessment of your options is distorted by that pain. And Kevin's message is equally important. Stay alert. Notice the people around you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply ask, "Are you okay? Really okay?" And then actually listen to the answer. Today, Chen runs a nonprofit focused on mental health awareness and suicide prevention. He's remarried, has 2 stepchildren, and describes his life as rich and meaningful. Kevin Briggs wrote a book called Guardian of the Golden Gate and travels the country training first responders in crisis intervention. Their story has been featured worldwide, reminding people that help is always possible, that it's never too late to choose life. A chance meeting that saved everything. But here's the truth, it wasn't really chance. It was Kevin's instinct to care, his decision to stop, his willingness to spend 2 hours with a stranger in pain. It was Michael's courage to share his story, to make that phone call, to take that step back from the edge. We're all connected by invisible threads, by the potential for profound impact on each other's lives. You never know when a simple act of kindness might be exactly what someone needs to hold on for one more day. And if you're struggling right now, please know this, your story isn't over. The pain you feel is real, but it's not permanent. If this story resonated with you, please share it. Drop a comment below. Subscribe to this channel for more stories about human connection and resilience. And most importantly, be that person for someone else. Notice, care, reach out. You might just save everything. Remember, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24/7 at 988. You are never alone. Your life matters. And sometimes all it takes is one conversation to change everything.